From destroying an embarrassing alpha male podcast host who got upset after being rated a 2.
So do me a favor, get the f up and get the f out.
Thank you.
Yeah, get out.
Spoken like a man whose feelings weren't hurt at all and wasn't offended by the 2 rating.
To destroying another for claiming he slept with 3 women in one night.
There is no reality in the entirety of the fucking multiverse where this man has slept with 1 woman, let alone over 1,000 of them.
A video from Charlie has the power to completely destroy the reputation of anyone he sets his sights on, and more often than not, the pride of these so-called alpha males leads them to embarrassingly respond to Charlie, and it never ends well for them. Starting with Alpha Dom, the man Charlie called the creepiest dating coach ever after he explained he never takes no for an answer and clapped back when Charlie called him out.
You do not have to accept her rejection.
Alpha Dom is probably the least assuming dating coach ever, with his website stating that it's time to level up and he can help navigate the fog when it comes to women. However, as we will see, it seems like he himself is yet to get out of that fog. His TikTok has unsurprisingly been banned multiple times, and currently he sits on just over 2,000 followers on his newest account, but he seems to have made big enough waves to get the attention of Charlie, who may have actually caused his original account to get banned. Alpha Dom talks a big game, which is not surprising from these dating coaches, but there was something even more sinister about Dom. His unkempt beard, poor fashion sense, and creepy vibe made viewers uncomfortable when watching, and this was multiplied when he recounted the story of when he refused to accept a woman's rejection.
She started going back and forth with me, and I started building a traction in that because now I had sidestepped her fucking rejection. Granted, keep in mind, I didn't force it. I didn't say, no, you're no. I just played into her little fucking game. I knew she was playing with me a little bit, or just kind of disengaging, and I gave her a little bit of fun. You want to know what I did with her later?
The creepy smile when he says, "Wanna know what I did with her later," made me think he'd buried her body. This was the top comment on Charlie's video, which was titled "Creepiest Dating Coach Ever," uploaded on the 15th of April 2024. And if you think this comment was bad, it was about to get a lot worse for this alpha dating coach.
You couldn't script a worse start to this lesson. You don't have to accept her rejection. Brother, that's like the #1 thing you should accept, not just with women, but with people in general. Nobody likes the pushy douchebag that refuses to take no for an answer. The guy's out here cosplaying as a car salesman, treating romance like it's a Yu-Gi-Oh duel. No, I will not allow this to happen because I have this trap card. The conversation will continue whether you like it or not.
Charlie also explained how ridiculous this is, laughing at this dating coach's pathetic attempt to come off as an alpha male to his 2,000 followers.
You don't have to accept her rejection. Now, here's an example. I was talking to a girl, and she said, I'm not really interested. And I, instead of just going, okay, and then just turning away, I did this. Why would you not be interested in me? I'm the best.
It's genius! The chosen one! Lisan Al-Gaib! How could we have not thought of that technique? Whoa! Instead of just accepting when a girl isn't into you, you say, wait, but you should be. No, you! He's done it! He's cracked the code! His midichlorian count is beyond our comprehension. Behold, the patron saint of pussy has come!
Now, this is already extremely creepy behavior, but I think you can tell just by looking at Alpha Dom, he will find a way to make the situation even worse, and he achieves this perfectly with the final part of his TikTok, and it's a difficult watch.
Absolutely the best. And she's like, oh, how? I'm like, well, you'd have to come over to my house to find out. And you'd also have to be okay with kink, and you'd also have to be okay with my mastery of the ropes and the fact I have multiple women. And actually, maybe not. Maybe you wouldn't be the best for me.
Going up to a stranger who has just rejected you and then saying you're the best, and the only way she'll find out how is if she comes over and has to be into kink and all of that. What fantasy are you living in? You're so fucking porn-brained if you think that would ever work on just a total stranger. It makes you sound like a serial killer, like she'd go over and it'd be a scene out of Dexter's early seasons, fucking plastic put up everywhere as you're about to dismember her.
It wasn't just Charlie laughing at Alpha Dom either, with his comment section completely destroying his advice and his persona. This guy definitely invites himself to parties, talks about how he's gonna get all the girls there, and then stays on his phone the entire time. Guy had one argument with his mother and never recovered. And it seems like this argument with his mother wouldn't be the last one he had, as he actually responded to Charlie's video, which only furthered the embarrassment he was suffering.
This creator made a video about me. He has 14.9 million followers. This is a big fish, so I'm not even going to return fire and mock him like he mocked me. There's plenty of material, but we're going to skip that.
He started out his TikTok by essentially admitting he would be scared of the backlash he would receive by laughing at Charlie, and completely skipped over that part and shared his very bizarre plan on how he was going to deal with Charlie to his followers.
Here's the interesting thing. This is what we're going to do with this guy. But if you're watching this, if you sign my NDA that I have my $3,000 a month client sign, I will show you what I show them, which is just the massive abundance. Because you said I didn't get women and I don't get models and stuff like that. And I'm going to just show you. I'm just going to open my entire world to you. And after your brain's done melting, what you have to do after is compose yourself and then make a video about the fact, like apology, and saying, I'm sorry, I was incredibly wrong and I didn't know what I was talking about. Alpha Dom is absolutely fucking amazing at getting women. And I've seen it firsthand now. But yeah, that's the deal. Can you do that?
After Dom gave this challenge, Charlie was very quick to point out the stupidity in what Dom was saying, and just completed the embarrassment for this fake alpha male.
Do you not know how an NDA works, Dom? I mean, of course not. With your team of lawyers, you can't be bothered understanding the law. An NDA would prevent me from talking about what I experienced. If you had me sign an NDA and showed me your harems, I wouldn't be able to talk about them, or I'd be sued. I'd be breaking the NDA, you fucking degenerate. Of course, this is all a bunch of gobbledygook. This man, he's just throwing out terms I don't think he understands at all. Why the fuck would you want me to sign an NDA for that? Wouldn't you want to be flexing that? Because you do everywhere else. Why would you want to flex it in person? Why would I need to sign into secrecy for your fucking cult? That wouldn't make any sense. You would want me talking about it.
Since Charlie dropped this video in 2024, Alpha Dom is still operating, but his videos barely get any views, and judging by his Samsung work t-shirt, I doubt the courses are paying the bills at the moment. This situation is very similar to that of the fake finance alpha male who tried to flex his non-existent millions, and when Charlie embarrassed him to his millions of viewers, he challenged him to a fight. Jason Wojo was the typical finance bro, with wild claims such as life begins at $30,000 a month, and that you don't need to work out if you're rich.
I don't need to go to the gym, okay? Because you pull up to the gym, making less than 10K a month, pulling up in your bullshit fucking Corolla, and I pull up in my McLaren. It's not even a contest, dude. No one gives a fuck about your muscles.
Obviously, because all of my subscribers are ripped and in shape, I don't need to explain the stupidity behind this statement that he was making, but it only got worse from here. He claims to own a Bentley and a McLaren, earned over $150 million in paid ad revenue, and has over 1.3 million followers on his Instagram account. However, a quick look into the comment sections of his post exposes that every single one of these followers are bots, all commenting the same thing, and as exposed by Sunny V2, Instagram bot checkers reveal that 75% of his followers are in fact fake profiles. Despite this fake lifestyle being on show for everyone to see, Jason kept up the act and kept getting more and more inflammatory, clearly for views online.
Let's take you, for example, and me, and we both pull up and we go to your girl. Odds are I'm gonna take that bitch. If you compared me to you, you're not gonna win that battle. So
the comments showed how people were feeling about Jason, which included, my girl literally has more muscles than him, and this is what insecurity sounds like masked as arrogance. Jason was successful in causing a stir online, but it wouldn't end up being positive attention, as Charlie would take aim at Jason and destroy this rich alpha illusion he'd created for himself.
I'm sure you've all heard the expression, fake it till you make it, but today I want to take a look at what happens when all you do is fake it without ever making it. You end up like this loser we're about to take a look at today. A guy who has become a complete parody of self-confidence, but without any level of self-awareness.
Charlie uploaded this video on the 3rd of March 2023, titled, "This Guy is Pathetic," and it's really hard to argue against it. Like we saw before, Jason takes great pride in his McLaren and Bentley, and features them a lot in his TikTok and Instagram posts. However, that's the only real show of wealth he ever features on his profile, which made Charlie question the legitimacy of his ownership.
Now, why I don't believe him about the success of his business is because the only thing he shows that's worth money is his car, the McLaren. He's made like 1,000 shorts about how much money he spends filling up a McLaren's tank, or how often he drives his McLaren, and that is the only thing worth a lot of money that he's ever shown, at least that I've seen. So that leads me to believe that it is 100% rented, or he really dumped all of his money into that one vehicle in order to portray himself as a successful businessman.
And this was proven when Jason decided to do a house tour, showing off his home, which he later revealed was rented, and it was a very surprising place for a multi-millionaire to be living in. He had what seemed to be an average to small size kitchen, with his desk set up directly opposite, with a setup that looks to be a studio apartment just filled with whiteboards. The contents of his fridge were just as surprising too, as it was filled with Gatorade and water, with no food in sight, and judging by his physique, that's not too surprising. Charlie picked up on this too, and stated that while it looks like a fine place to live, it's not exactly what you'd expect.
He did a little house tour, and it's very humble living. It's a nice place, but it's not exactly like a super mega mansion you would expect someone with a 9-figure business to own. And he's not wearing a ton of ice or anything like that, and he's clearly a guy who loves to flex because he's always talking about his wealth and his success, yet the only thing you can ever see from that is that McLaren. Now this may be like a tinfoil hat conspiracy, but I truly just think he either rents it for these videos, or even more depressingly, drained all of his finances to make that big purchase with that belief that this car would be enough to convince people that he has a lot of money.
This video in particular went on to gain over 6.4 million views, and although Charlie was pretty brutal, the comments on the video were even worse. Zero food in that fridge, literally nothing but beer and Gatorade. That's the definition of poor AF. I guarantee you he's renting that place too. Bro's making 9 figures in Zimbabwe currency. As it turns out, Jason was one of those 6.4 million viewers, and given he talks a big game, he could not stand by quietly while Charlie ruined his reputation, and decided to challenge Charlie head on.
He was talking a bunch of crap about my video, so we're going to respond. This is my reaction. Okay, we're not going to get heated in this. I'm not really massively triggered. I just want to take advantage of the views, so we're going to get right into this.
Despite him saying he's going to keep calm and that he's not triggered, he immediately embarrasses himself as he yaps for 18 minutes about how he earns more money than Charlie, despite Charlie's ad revenue alone being 6 figures a month. He then gets to the part of this response which caused him to become a total laughingstock, and it disproves his point about not being triggered.
The funny part is that I don't need to be in shape, and you know what? I'm going to make this statement in the video. We should do a boxing match with him because he does not. I'll box this guy. I'll do something with him because I guarantee you he can't outrun me in a mile. Okay, I can still, to this very day, with the amount of times that I don't work out, I can still run a 6-minute mile.
Despite this boxing challenge by Jason, Charlie wouldn't need to step into the ring to deliver the finishing blow to this fake alpha's career, as the next video he uploaded would be Charlie's most popular in a long time, and Jason would have wished he never responded. Titled simply, "He Wants to Fight Me," uploaded literally the day after the original upload, this video has gone on to gain 11.5 million views, and Charlie showed why fighting him would be a loss either way for Jason.
Now, let's walk through this hypothetical. Let's say I took up the malnourished Martian on his fight offer and he beats my ass. He brutalizes me somehow. He takes his McLaren out and he's like, "Get a load of this, tough guy," and he starts wailing on me. What does that change about everything I've said about him? It's all still the truth. All the jokes are still applicable. It's just never fully computed with me because it always comes across as even whinier and more pathetic, at least in my eyes. And I'm sure the reason he's doing it is just for the sake of soaking up as much attention as possible. He makes it very clear in the beginning of the video that he's doing all of this for views, so I have no doubt that's the play. But what if I was to accept his offer? I feel like that would be his legitimate worst nightmare because I am 100% sure he's never thrown a punch in his life, not even in his dreams, because his bones would shatter.
Outside of the threats of violence, Charlie also tackled Jason's entire gimmick about earning 10k a month to be happy, showing that despite Charlie's massive earnings, he's remained humble in the face of a man who tried to compare net worths, despite knowing he could easily flex his earnings on him.
And it's also not hypocritical either, if I was to make that point. You don't need to be making 10k a month to be happy. You just simply don't. Your whole personality is money. I lived the majority of my life without even imagining $10,000 a month, and I was happy then too. Just as happy then as I am now. It's not a necessary, absolute must-have thing, and you're not a failure if you don't get $10,000 a month. Contrary to the delusion that you're fucking encumbered by, you don't need 30k a month to start living. You don't. Like, I can't believe anyone actually thinks that way. What an outrageous claim to make.
Charlie continues on his tirade and dismantling of Jason's entire persona he crafted, claiming he is fueling the unrealistic lifestyle standards which are set on social media, with Jason himself being part of the people who have yet to reach those heights. Charlie's videos combined have earned over 17 million views, and it seems like this directly caused his social media engagement to be killed, as despite having almost 100,000 followers on TikTok, his videos barely get any views. His growth has ground to a halt, and he is still yet to put on any weight. Jason seemed to have got his feelings hurt so much by the internet, he stopped posting rage bait online, which is a similar situation to the next alpha male, who after getting a poor rating from a girl on his show, threw a tantrum live on air. The Unfiltered podcast hosted by Eric and Basil describes itself as a no-fluff, no-filter take on daily subjects, giving realistic perspectives on dating, self-growth and improvement. However, their own behaviour contradicts this statement. Their podcast isn't exactly groundbreaking. It's the typical alpha male podcast where topics range from authority in relationships, society being weak, and getting women to rate the hosts, which is exactly where the issues began.
So I want you to rate me, my co-host, and then our fucking producer. Go, from 1 to 10, just off beauty, go.
As the panel went round and rated the hosts, they were all very generous, giving 7s, 8s, and other high numbers, but the podcast host was being an absolute man-child throughout the entire process.
Speak into the fucking mic.
I would rate you.
First you're rating me, and then him, and then him. Go.
And even got upset after one of them took too long to answer his question.
I would rate you a 8.
Okay.
9.
Okay. Come on, he just fucking stood up, bro. Like, come on.
The next girl to answer is the one who really ruffled Eric's feathers though, as she gave him a real rating.
All right, what about you over there? Go.
2.
Okay.
I would give him a 9.
Okay. What is she over there?
I would give him a 10 because
Okay.
he invited me.
All right. So again, you sound like a stupid ass bitch. I'm trying to
Thank
figure
you.
out why you rated me a 2 because we're not going off our interactions. We're going off beauty.
I don't
Right.
like light skinned niggas.
I don't give a fuck. He's light skinned just like me, and you just gave him a 9. You gave me a 2. You only gave me a 2 because of the whole interaction that we've been having, right? So do me a favor, get the fuck up and get the fuck out.
Eric completely threw a temper tantrum and struggled to fathom why a girl wouldn't find him attractive, completely embarrassing himself in front of his own hundreds of viewers. His own fans were commenting along at the same time as this, with one fan commenting after kicking the girl out saying, "Damn, because she gave you a 2, come on man, I thought you wanted the show to last." This comment seemed to foreshadow upcoming events slightly, as in May of 2023, Penguinz0 uploaded a video titled Most Insecure Podcast, and if you thought some of these negative comments were bad, it was about to get a lot worse for the Unfiltered team, as this video gained over 8 million views and sparked the beginning of the end. He starts the video with a great point, and probably something that you've been thinking throughout this entire segment.
There are more podcasts on YouTube than there are stars in the night sky. Everyone has been convinced that they're a unique, special little butterfly and that their insight is invaluable. And now that there's so much easy access to recording equipment, everyone gets this insidious little idea planted deep in their noodle that it's time to start a podcast. And my God, I tell you, it's a plague. It's a disease, a virus that's infecting the mind of the most insecure and insufferable people of all time.
And it gets even better, as after Eric crashed out after getting rated a 2, Charlie lays into him, calling out his insecurity and frankly embarrassing behavior.
Spoken like a man whose feelings weren't hurt at all and wasn't offended by the 2 rating. So he tries to justify it with, "You only rated me a 2 because we had a disagreement earlier," which I guess they did, but even still, this is an extreme overreaction to getting rated a 2. The insecurity is palpable. You can fucking taste the salt here. You can actually hear that lump in his throat start to form from all the emotion building up inside of him. Get out of here, stupid bitch. Hey, make sure she grabs the right phone and not someone else's phone, because she's so dumb she probably won't know which one's her phone. Dumb idiot. She's real stupid. You're stupid. I'm a 2. No, you're a 2.
After calling Eric out for his temper tantrum, he then began to question the other women on the show. You'd think that after watching him shout and abuse that girl who he made leave, the others would probably follow suit, and Charlie was just as surprised as probably you were about that.
Podcast is now turned into like a hostage situation here. All the women seem on edge, and I actually just can't believe they didn't leave after that. Like, again, I don't understand why women keep signing up for this shit. Like, no one seems to be having any fun there. The hosts especially don't seem to be having any fun. This guy's co-host seems miserable, but he does liven up it a little bit when he gets to rate the other women and gives them like 3s, 4s, and 5s and all that. But it's just so awkward and weird.
After Charlie dropped this, the comments on the video couldn't agree more with him and summed the entire podcast up perfectly. Those poor girls being guilt-ridden enough to rate that sewer rat an 8 was hilarious. I won't get offended, then turns around and reverts to a 4-year-old. He's the kind of guy to say women are too emotional and then react like that when he asked for an opinion. And like any good alpha male, Eric and Basil weren't just going to sit back and take this criticism and released a video responding to Charlie, in which they were addressing the hit pieces as they called it. Honestly, they didn't really say anything of worth in the video and just tried and failed to explain why they acted that way. The most noteworthy thing, however, is the fact that this video is the most viewed on their channel, and it wasn't fans of the show watching, as the podcast was completely destroyed by commenters. I would say this video was a 2. Shout out to the queen who rated you a 2 out of 10. She's the realist. The comment which really stood out was, "Don't worry guys, this rat piss podcast won't last very long." And this turned out to be completely correct, as after gaining just over 8,500 subscribers, 7 months later they had officially shut down the show, with comments on even their last upload still roasting them. Although these comments are pretty bad, the next fake alpha would suffer an even more brutal comment section, as his story about sleeping with 3 girls in one night made Charlie's fans cringe in disbelief. This dude is a definition of trust me bro. And this dude would be Walter, who hosts the Fresh and Fit podcast alongside Myron Gaines, where they are called Fresh and Fit respectively. Fresh and Fit is another podcast similar to Unfiltered, but the viewer base for Fresh and Fit is much larger, with over 1.5 million subscribers on their YouTube channel, which has actually been demonetized for some of the outrageous claims and stories on there. One of these outrageous stories was told by Walter, who has been under fire anyway for riding the coattails of Myron's success and lying about his life, but the following story he told was so unbelievable, people couldn't hold their tongues anymore.
Alright guys, so you heard my L's, marrying a single mom, getting left out in the cold, basically in the car, never came downstairs. But today we're gonna talk about my W in terms of having 3 women in one day.
Walter goes on to explain that he met an NBA player, whose name he can't say, at a Miami pool party, who liked the look of Walter and wanted to party with him. After following each other on Instagram, they noticed they had been with the same girl and bonded over that. One thing led to another, and Walter ended up at a different party the next day with this NBA player, where the following very real events occurred.
I'm at his mansion party, right? There's like 40 girls and like 5 guys. In my head, I'm like, yo, real talk, this is crazy. Like, I've never been at a party where there's been this much girls compared to guys. So I'm like, yo, how's this gonna work? He says to me, yo, come through, bro. So he's like, yo, pick 3 that you want, and I got you. I was like, 3 that I want? This is like a buffet?
I can tell the story's made up, you can tell the story's made up, and someone else who could tell it was made up was Charlie, who named him the most embarrassing alpha male ever on a video uploaded on the 13th of May 2022, and he did not hold back his thoughts on this pure fictional story.
You have the gall, the chutzpah, to sit here and insult not only the intelligence of your viewers, but insult God himself with the claim that you and the NBA player were having sex with the same women. Do you honestly expect anyone in the world to believe that?
Outside of his claim that he even slept with one woman, the thing that really caught Charlie's attention was the part of the story where he described the mansion party as a buffet, and Charlie said what we were all thinking.
Bro, this does not sound like an NBA player. This sounds like human trafficking. Pick any 3 girls and I got you. That should be like setting off alarm bells in your head, I would think. What might have happened is some guy came up to him and lied like, yeah, I'm in the NBA, I'm also ex-Special Forces, over 500 confirmed kills, and I fuck on the daily. In fact, hourly. In fact, I'm gonna be late for a threesome right now.
The most embarrassing part of the video was yet to come, however. If you hadn't already noticed, the title of the original video was simply Pull Girls Easily, and this was because they were trying to sell a course on how to date women. But outside of Walter's very real story about getting a buffet of women to choose from, there wasn't really much to learn from the video.
Learning from Deals on Demand that you guys are gonna learn if you bought the course. We're gonna re-release it soon, coming up maybe like next month. That whole setup there can be done for yourself through Instagram or a dating app.
How is me buying your course going to help me fuck 3 times in one day? Is the course just that NBA player's phone number for his mansion of sex? Like, there's just nothing you can really teach from this story you've told here. Nothing translates. There's no lesson. You picked 3 girls that a guy then instructed to have sex with you. And it never happened in the first place, and I hate that I keep suspending disbelief for even a fraction of a second to entertain the idea that this happened in reality, when we all know it didn't. But even still, what is the takeaway? There is nothing that happened in this whole video that could help some lonely guy at all.
The real destruction was in the comments section too, with people laughing at just how immature and how much of a man-child he sounds. Fresh sounds like a middle schooler claiming he touched a boob. Guy went into a brothel and paid for 3 girls and got so embarrassed he invented this crazy story in his head, told it so many times he actually believes it. And the next alpha male is guilty of telling so many lies that he also believed it, and that is Wes Watson, the alpha male king who was being caught lying about his past prison life, but made a name for himself by completely embarrassing himself on a podcast. If you're a subscriber of the channel, you will probably know who Wes Watson is. And if you haven't subscribed but have made it this far into this quality video, make sure you do, right now. If you don't know who Wes Watson is though, he's someone who was extremely popular on YouTube in the prison story world. His time in the California prison system told him a lot about life, and when he was finally set free, he wanted to share his knowledge with YouTube and racked up an impressive following by doing so. His message was that men should be real men and that you should put out more good into the world than evil. He claims to have spent almost a decade in prison and has been involved in multiple prison riots. However, there have been countless YouTube videos exposing him for his lies and for lying about his wealth from selling drugs. However, his real embarrassment came on stage, which coincidentally was during a Fresh and Fit live recording, which makes the situation even more cringe. After Andrew Wilson called Wes out and asked why he values money so highly, Wes then pressured Andrew, calling him broke, ugly, and fat, all while completely dodging Andrew's original question and struggling to string a coherent sentence together that wasn't filled with insults.
It does not hugely improve a person's life.
Are you proud of who the fuck you are?
Why
well,
don't
look
you
at,
even
are
let
you
me
proud?
get-
If you look in the mirror, would you guys say this motherfucker's proud of who the fuck he is? That's a bag of trash, dude. Pull your fucking shirt
Because
off
I've been-
and tell me you're fucking proud
Because
of yourself.
I've been to fucking prison?
Jesus Christ,
Because
look
I've been
at
to
you,
prison?
bro. You got 10-inch arms and tits. Men don't have tits.
No,
you
they
guys.
go to prison where they get fucking
Fuck yeah,
where
they
get
do.
raped up the ass.
You've never been to prison. Look,
That's
he's
what
talking about shit you
happens.
don't know.
They go to prison where they get
let's do
raped.
Now you get your ass beat in front of
You think that
everybody.
that's
Guys,
better?
guys,
You think that that's better?
The top comment on the stream, unsurprisingly, is Wes made himself look really weak here, and that's the exact point that Charlie made in his video about the situation, titled Most Insecure Alpha Male Ever. And after watching a couple of minutes of Wes, Charlie was shocked at just how poorly he acted on stage. At the time of Charlie recording this video, Wes was actually getting so much backlash that he had to private his Instagram account, and Charlie thinks he found the reason why.
This is not what men
Let's let
look
him.
like.
Let's let him
What do they
finish
look
his
like?
point.
Fucking shit.
What do they look like? Bald prisoners? Is that what they look like?
This is the problem in society. People like this think they can talk to someone like me like that.
You started it, goofball. Oh my god, he's getting. This is why this is why he privated his Instagram account now. I see. Oh my, he's getting destroyed.
After getting embarrassed on stage and in front of 2.7 million of Charlie's viewers on his video, Wes continued to have a complete meltdown online after being exposed for renting his lifestyle, hiring his girlfriends, and being given the nickname Peg Watson. And if you want to see more about his situation, click the video that's on your screen now, and I'll see you in the next one.